album, and I'm learning this while we're doing interviews, yeah, it's about the music, yeah, it's feel good, yeah, it's his story, it's my story, mostly his story. But the big story is Generation X, his generation. It is told to us that we don't get along, and we don't see eye to eye, and we don't have the same taste in music, and we don't this and we don't that, and it's a generational war going on in hip hop. And our relationship in this album disproves all of that.
Yeah, it's the Almanac of Rap show. I got opinions and they all factual. No news, just information that you won't be able to use unless you're at a dinner party trying to impress who's in attendance with endless tidbits of nonsense. We're gonna have a good time, I promise. YouTube rabbit holes, Reddit deep dives, pulling out old interviews from the archives. Styles, fads, trends, all of that. It's the Almanac of Rap.
Welcome to the Almanac of Rap, the show that's not afraid to name names. I'm your host, Donwill, and today's guests are Ninth Wonder and Reuben Vincent. Ninth Wonder is a producer, professor, and flat-out North Carolina hip-hop royalty. Reuben Vincent is one of the newest signees to his record label, Jamla. Our conversation covers Ninth's career, discovering Reuben, and how they are adding to the rich legacy of North Carolina hip-hop. We'll get into that in a second, but first, I gotta kick the Ballistics.
All right, thank you so much for joining me for my presentation. So, he is honestly connected to Ninth Wonder in more ways than you would think. Ninth Wonder and these two are connected to him, matter of fact.
Now, I wouldn't say this if white people were around, but when it comes to hip hop, certain stereotypes are just kind of true. Like, if you hear about a singer getting arrested, they're gonna call him a rapper. And if you hear about a rapper doing something good, they'll probably call him a singer. And an MC trying out other genres is probably only one interview or two away from saying that they're more than just a rapper. Also, a rapper named YN Tech Fleece probably isn't the person you want to ask about geopolitics. All right, I think you get the idea. But here's another one. If you're a rapper that goes by your government name, you can probably rap your ass off. Seriously, it's basically a rap name by law. Rappers like Nas, Torre, Wale, Fonte, and Andre of Outkast are just a few shining examples of this theory. Their names are also mononyms, which means they go by their actual name. Sidebar. Did you know that Akon's real name is, I'm not gonna try to read this. Kobe, please, just flash it on screen. Yo, his full name is basically a sentence. In keeping with the theme of rappers who use their real name, here's a short list of people who were too busy getting good at rapping to come up with a compelling stage name. Sean Price, MC Paul Barman, Tupac Shakur, Keith Murray, Talib Kweli, Will Smith, Kanye West, I know. Azalea Banks, I know. Joel Ortiz, Joe Budden, Asher Roth, Eric Sermon, and J. Cole. Honorable mention goes to Eminem. Okay, his name might be Eminem, but that's actually just another way of saying M&M, which is shorthand for his real name, Marshall Mathers. As far as rap skills, no explanations needed there.
This text, I need you to focus. That's crazy. This guy, Kendrick Lamar, the one. Because Ninth Wonder, but another one is this dude.
Even the Fugees didn't bother coming up with fun rap names. Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, and Pras Michel stopped short at naming the group and began focusing on complete mastery of the craft at hand. Sadly, Tyler the Creator, Megan Thee Stallion, Devin the Dude, Chance the Rapper, Benny the Butcher, and Kamal the Abstract don't qualify because while they all rap their asses off and have used their government name, the descriptor is the disqualifier. You see what I did there? And if you've got two first names, you are an absolute microphone menace. Okay, it's gotta be noted that the second first name has to be a last name that sounds like a first name. Does that make sense? Well, even if it doesn't, it's my show and I make the rules, so it makes sense to me. Kendrick Lamar is a guy who flamed Drake so viciously that he won a Song of the Year Grammy for a diss track. Ironically, Drake's technically got two first names as well, but in this battle of the two first namers, Aubrey Drake Graham took the L. He can rap though. Maybe he should rebrand as Aubrey Drake in this Iceman era between lawsuits. Kendrick's former TDE label mate, Isaiah Rashad, continues the two first names tradition as well. His albums The Sun's Tirade and The House is Burning are proof that he's worthy of the great two first namers before him. As if Isaiah wasn't enough, TDE re-upped on double first namers and got Ray Vaughn to keep things kicking after Kung Fu Kenny left. And hey, wait a minute. Am I tripping, or are having two first names sort of like a prerequisite for getting a deal at TDE? Now, I would list myself here, but my name is Donwill. All one word, no space. So please stop putting a space in my name, for the love of God. And no weird capitalization either. It's just capital D, lowercase letters after that. The long and short of it is, so Tupac Shakur, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, it's all connected. You know what I'm saying? I've connected it.
Don, all I asked was for you to send me the script.
This is the script.
Honey, I gotta go.
One of the latest additions to this group of two first namers is none other than Reuben Vincent, a North Carolina MC who got a major rep for rapping his ass off. Recently, he teamed up with Ninth Wonder for their joint album, Welcome Home. Today, we tap in with both of them to find out how they linked up and get more backstory on their latest release. Check out the Okayplayer shop for exclusive collectibles and limited runs. That's shop.okayplayer.com. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Almanac of Rap. My name is Donwill, and today at the table, I've got two of North Carolina's finest. Ninth Wonder is a Grammy Award-winning producer and co-founder of the group Little Brother. He's since gone on to start Jamla Records and become a college professor of several different colleges. Man, the man works hard as hell. We've also got Reuben Vincent, an artist who is currently signed to Jamla Records and fresh off the heels of his release,
Welcome home.
Welcome Home. Ladies and gentlemen, Reuben Vincent, Ninth Wonder.
Yes, sir.
What's up, man?
What up, what up?
Thank you.
So glad to have y'all here, man.
Yeah.
This is, I ain't seen you in a minute,
Yeah,
man.
this is a whole interview.
Yeah. This is,
Relationship.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing by itself, man.
this is decades right here.
This is decades.
And I'm happy to meet you. Like, we've been chopping it up for a minute, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But my first question is a question about this relationship. We got a eagle, and an Aggie. How do y'all work around that rivalry, man? I mean, we got another Aggie at the table too, so I'm
Aggie
here
pride.
on behalf.
You know, I just want to apologize to all the North Carolina A&T State University students who received two back-to-back 60-point victories against the Eagles of North Carolina Central University. I think one game was 62 to something.
All right.
Yeah, he about to go. This is
I don't know what's going on, but you know, and y'all coach is an Eagle that I can't. The coach is Sean Gibb at
true.
A&T, and what's funny is he and I came in the Central together as freshmen, which is funny.
oh wow.
So
That is-
prayers up for Sean, my man Sean. Anyway, you know, man,
I just want to say one thing to that. Aggie pride. My
Aggie
next
pride
question.
all day.
My next question.
Yeah.
My next question is directed for you tonight.
Yeah.
All right. I watched the Wonder Years documentary many years ago, and I tapped back into it today, like in research.
right?
In the documentary, you said you're known as either Pooh, Patrick, Pat, P, or Ninth. And
Yes.
I'm imagining some people call you Professor.
Yeah.
So my question is, who do you resonate with most right now in this moment today?
It's always Pat, man. I mean, I came in here yesterday and introduced myself to everybody as Patrick.
Patrick.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just always been that for me. You know what I mean? Like, you know the beginnings we come from, man. We never would thought we would be in this situation. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Like, we used to be on the message boards together.
Yep.
And to now look up 20, 25 years later to know we're looked at in a different light by somebody younger than us, it's still hard for us to lose who we are. I don't know if it would have been the same if we weren't discovering music on the internet. The internet has changed the way, you know, artist relations and people relations is different.
Mm-hmm.
When we grew up, we were far apart from the Pete Rocks and, you know, and LL Cool J's. They were way over here. We were way over here. The internet has brought it like this, right?
I
So-
love or whatever. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's about the fan of the consumer and the artist very close together. So for us, and especially for me, it's kind of hard for me to just switch over to be this one guy named Ninth Wonder all the time, and knowing I'm still Pat that lives in North Carolina, who who know people from A&T, who know people from Central, NC State, blah, blah, blah. And when they see me, they don't call me Ninth. They call me my name, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of, if I would have moved to another state, maybe, you know, I would have got into the whole thing, persona, but I've never lived anywhere else outside of North Carolina. So
Got you.
everybody knows me as Pat, so that's what it is.
Yeah. My next question is for you, Reuben. What was it like meeting Ninth Wonder and then getting to know Pat?
Man, first of all, the first thing I thought when I met him was, yo, he's tall.
Yo, I was telling my homie, he's basketball tall.
Yeah. And I was, mind you, I'm 13 at the time. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, whoa. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was surreal to me because, and I just told him this story yesterday, and which is ironically like another moment of like serendipity. You know, when I was 10 years old and I just had started working on Fruity Loops and like trying to teach myself how to make beats because I was a big Kanye fan. You know what I mean? Like my dad gave me late registration when I was 6 years old. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel like that changed the trajectory of just my whole like music taste. And I started like, okay, I'm gonna try to learn how to make beats. And obviously like I was picking it up because I was a fan of Kanye, but I remember Chris Brown had put out a mixtape and he had some Ninth beats on there where he was rapping. And I remember I saw the YouTube video.
I don't know about this.
Yeah. It's online. It's
The detention boy.
Something, the detention, the boy of detention, or something like that. It's something like that. But he did 3. But I remember he recorded a music video to one, and I saw it on YouTube. And this is when I was like surfing the web. I found Section 80 this year, like all this stuff. You know what I mean? But I was just surfing the web. And I was like, man, this beat is hard. And I had already knew who Ninth was because of Threat. And Fade to Black was another trajectory change for me at 8 years old seeing that movie. So I knew what Threat was and stuff like that. And I remember hearing the beat Chris Brown rapped over, and I was like, dang, I gotta make a beat that sound like this. So my first beat on FL ever was trying to emulate a Ninth beat. Granted, it was not as great as, you know what I mean? But I was trying to emulate. So it was just to years later, 13, somebody tweets him and is like, I don't know this kid, but you need to check him out. I couldn't have planned that, you know what I mean? And, you know, it just was like, whoa. And just for him to hear back and be like, yo, you know, shoot me a DM, you know what I mean? Let me talk to your parents, get you to come down here, record. It was again, serendipity, right. You know what I mean? So
it was like a closing of the loop in him, like, if you will.
For sure.
And you've only you've professionally been known as Reuben Vincent.
Yes.
But have you ever had any other rap
Yes,
pseudonyms?
definitely.
What were some of the other names?
So when I first started, it was Lil Reuben. That's when I was 8.
Lil Reuben.
Yeah, then...
I got to pause you real quick. Lil Reuben, so there's a guy in the Dungeon family named Big Rube. You could have been Lil Rube. Big Rube.
Yeah.
Lil Rube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real. That's very true.
But, okay.
So, yeah, Lil Reuben.
What age was this? You said 8?
8.
I also got to pause you again because I want you to know that I'm not speeding past the fact that the ages you're giving off with these milestones are preteen.
Yeah.
You're like a child prodigy
at
the table. So I just want the listening audience to know that, like, yes, 8.
I was watching He-Man.
10.
I wasn't into none of that. I was watching He-Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. My friends was playing Pokemon and, you know, Dragon Ball Z and, you know, doing this in the playground.
And you were at home like, I'm a little
I got MP3 players,
to the monkey ball.
You know, for real.
But yeah, so you said Lil Reuben.
And then my mom's first husband used to call me Big Ben.
Big Ben?
Yeah, like, cause my name's Reuben, you know what I mean? So
I never thought
he always be like, Big Ben, you know, he always say that. So then I went by Big Ben for a little bit. And then I went by my initials, REV, which was Rev. And then when I started putting music online, it was Esau the Don. And then, yeah, that's my middle name, Esau.
Okay.
So I was trying to be on some Nas, you know, I was in the Illmatic at the time. It was written, I was not no mafioso person to be doing it, but I was like, yo, the Don sound cool, so I'm gonna be Esau the Don.
At 13.
And I put the dollar sign, in the S because I was a fan of Joey Badass.
Shouts to Joey Badass.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm Esau the Don, you know what I mean? I'm bringing back the real, you know, that was my whole little thing. And then when I met Ninth, which was always a thought in my head, but I never thought people would gravitate to it because of it just being my regular name.
Yeah.
But I always thought in the back, like, what if I just went by my name? But then when he said it, I was like, okay, maybe.
So when y'all met, you were going by Esau the Don.
Yes.
And Ninth was like Reuben Vincent.
Yeah, I was like, dog, like, go by your real name, man.
Yeah.
Like, what are we? I mean, this is. I had never worked with an artist that young. It was so many, Cash and I talk about it, President Cash, by the way, of my label, Jamla. We talk about it all the time. As far as meeting somebody that young, everybody we meet to do music with, they're in their 20s, mid-20s, and it's, once a person's set in their ways, it's nothing you can really do with it. But with him, it was like an open book. You know what I mean? Like, I was already into education. I knew what it was to be around young adults, or I was a young adult, so, in college, teaching college, but I knew what it meant to have an impression on somebody, a positive impression. And so I had an off day. I was on tour in Germany. Well, actually, Rhapsody was on tour in Germany, and we had an off day in Berlin, Germany. Random. I'm in my hotel room, and I'm looking through Twitter, and I see this tweet. Ninth, you need to check this kid out. I have no dog in this fight. Now, the I have no dog in this fight is the reason why I clicked on it. Because most of the time when you click on, when somebody say check my mans out. Check out my mans, check out what, I get all kind of DMs, you know what I mean? Like, from everybody to check out their loved one who makes music. This dude was like, it's this 13-year-old kid you need to check out. And I know he sent it specifically to me because I'm thinking, well, if you sending this to me and you heard it on your own and you want me to check it out, that means the caliber of this kid's lyricism got to be somewhere. Right. You know what I mean?
They ain't gonna send you no bullshit.
No. And I don't like to call it, they just not gonna send me anything that's outside of my brand.
Sorry,
right?
not bullshit. Outside of the brand.
Yeah, outside of the brand.
Yeah.
Politically correct. Outside of the brand. So, I clicked on it and I'm like, what? And so in his rhyme, he said something about Cool G Rap and Rakim. And I'm like, man, it's a joke. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess AI before AI. And I'm like, man, come on. So I said, it's the internet. Should I reach out to the kid? So I did, and he answered back. And I said, next thing I said is, where's your parents?
Where's your parents?
And he said, and he was like, I'm gonna get my mama right now. So he put his
mama. I ran to a room.
He put his mama on, and I was like, I'm gonna be in Europe for another week, but in a couple of weeks, bring him up to the studio. And she brought him up to the studio. And it's funny, it's so wild. The night she brought him up, Murs was there. Murs was there. We were recording Final Adventure.
Okay.
And Murs was there. And she brought him in. And I'm like,
did you know who Murs was?
Yes, definitely. Okay. Yeah, I was studying already.
Everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if you knew like the gravity, but I should have known you.
Yeah, he knew, you know what I mean? And so we in there, and so it's me, Murs, Cash, Reuben, his mom, and you meet little kids. What's up, little man? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be, He said, hey, what's going on? And I was like, I said, man, you want something to eat? Whatever, because I'm going into, it's not necessarily, it's an artist. This is like my nephew done came over. You know what I'm saying?
It's a child. Like you want to make sure the child is like a kid is comfortable in your presence.
Right. Because my daughter's now 21 and 24. My eldest daughter and him are born a month apart.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
as a father, you see a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and our studio is a kid friendly environment.
Yep, I've been there before. I can attest.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's funny because Black Thought was there like back in September. He started smoking in the studio, and I told him, I said, "You are the first and only person that's ever smoked in my studio. You only doing it because you're Black Thought.
Yeah.
If it was you and Snoop could probably be only other people.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm like, yo, you want something to eat? Yeah, man, can I have some strawberry Nestle quick and some Pop-Tarts? And we like, me and Cash were like, okay, let's go get this man some money. You know what I mean? So then his mama, his mom is, Reuben is Liberian. I let him tell his story about him being Liberian. But his mom, can I talk to you for a second? I said, yes, ma'am. And I'm saying, yes, ma'am. Me and his mom the same age. So we going back.
Literally born a month apart.
Apart.
Yeah.
So we're going to the back and we talking. She said, and she looking at me like, I done been through this before. I've talked to people like you before, or I've talked to people that want to work with my son.
She's dealt with the rap leader.
Yeah,
the rap leader.
The rap leader. So anyway, she's like, do you think my son is that good? I was like, I know he's that good, right? And I'm also speaking because now I'm not only into hip hop, I'm also into grassroots basketball. So I'm looking at it from two different angles. I said, I know he's that good. I said, now, I don't know how much money he'll make from this game, but he'll make some money out of this game. I promise you that. It could be $1 million, it could be 100,000. He's gonna make something. And she said, okay, well, as long as he doesn't say suck my penis on a record, I'm okay. I was like, yeah, nah, we don't really do that here. You know what I mean? Like, not a lot, nah. And so we got started. We took care of our accommodations in the hotel right up the street. He got started. And that weekend, he recorded 9 songs on his own. And when he recorded the first song, Extraterrestrial, we were like, I walked out the control room. I looked at Cash. I said, man, he ain't breathing. He just rapping. And I'm like, man, this is great. And he recorded 9 songs in a weekend.
Did you sleep?
Maybe after they left, like, you know what I'm saying? I might have watched some cartoons in like till 1 o'clock or something like that.
Because my question is, I know that in those type of situations, excitement and adrenaline takes over.
Oh yeah, my adrenaline was super high.
And I could only imagine as a child, like your adrenaline being super, super high.
Oh, for sure. I was like, high off them Pop-Tarts and
Pop-Tarts,
strawberry
milk.
And the thing is, it's funny to even hear the story now. I'm a Kobe fan, right? I'm a big Kobe fan first, just because my dad was like a big Kobe fan. But I resonate with LeBron's story just because of LeBron being like, from a kid, you know what I mean? He knew he was going to do basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was coached and, really was doing this since a kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? So anytime I watch a LeBron documentary, I feel like I resonate. And he's a Capricorn too. Like his birthday's the day before mine. You know what I mean? Oh. Yeah. So I always see the similarities in that. You know what I mean? And obviously on a different level because this was a kid-friendly place, but another person is Wayne. You know what I mean? Yeah. And those are like, but that's how my story was. And it was like, I'm grateful he didn't. He says it, himself, but now looking as I'm older, I'm grateful that him, Cash, everybody at Jamla didn't look at it like, yo, we're about to turn you into a child star.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was really development.
Because even from that point until, like, you're getting signed to Jamla, like your first, those few years were development. It was like you go home, work, a couple months, knife goes out.
Yeah.
Then you come back and do more. And so you got to see incrementally how he was growing and changing. And got to give him some tutelage. But my question is, your mom keeps coming up with the story, your dad keeps coming up with the story. Like, I want to know about just that support network and what it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like having parents that support your dream at that age. Because there's a lot of parents who,
West African parents at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
So one thing I'm grateful for is, my pop's not perfect, obviously, you know what I mean? Especially even me being a young man, knowing the back history. But one thing I commend my dad for doing is my dad and mom, I'm the only child for them. But they obviously when they got married afterwards, I had siblings and stuff. But he's not a father I can say that was like, just F my son. You know what I mean? Like when I was 4 years old, he used to pick me up in his blue Cadillac and play Nas, Jay, 50, and that's how we bonded. I don't think he thought like, yo, my son is gonna take on rapping and be a rapper, but when he would pick me up on the weekends, that's how we bonded, was through hip hop. You know what I mean?
And I'm sure you choosing to do hip hop, he's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure him seeing this is just like.
Yeah, for sure. All the time. All the time. He comes to all the listening joints. He come to the shows and stuff. And then my mom is funny. My aunt was telling me a story yesterday. She was like, when you first came out, your mom was like, he's going to be a doctor. You know what I mean? And then, but by the time I was 3 years old, riding around my dad, I fell in love with rap. You know what I mean? I remember seeing the first rapper I seen that I was like, wait, you can do that, was ironically Bow Wow. You know what I mean? I had 2 older cousins who lived with us. They were like 15, 16 at the time. And I'm 4 or 5 years old running around with them. And they're in love with Bow Wow. You know what I mean? But I'm like, yo, this little kid rapping, I can do that. You know what I mean? And so when she saw that I was interested in music, my mom just pushed me that way, you know what I mean? Like taking me to the studio. She didn't understand it, you know what I mean? But being like, okay, I'll take you to the studio. As long as you're not cursing and doing this and that and your grades is good, I'll support, you know what I mean? So I have to commend both of them for.
And I'm glad you brought up Bow Wow because that reminded me of the point I wanted to make when you were talking about Reuben Vincent, the name. Like, he had to grow into whatever name he chose. And growing into yourself, being a fuller like version of who you are through your art is a lot different than being like Big Ben.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, can you imagine being Big Ben right now and being
my
like,
God, it's cringe.
man, I got to figure out how to get back to being Reuben.
Yo, for real.
You know what I'm saying?
It's cringe. And it's dope because, like, people always ask me, they're like, why'd you choose your real name? It's like, I couldn't be nobody else but myself. I would lose my mind, honestly, if I was in here and it's like, when I turn on the camera, I have to be, for the lack of better terms, Big Ben.
Yeah.
And then when I get off, it's Reuben again. You know what I mean? It's like, and it also makes the music personable, where I don't have to do a persona or act like anybody else and just be Reuben, you know?
Yeah. But you do have your personas. You have your Luther Vandross.
Yes, Luther Vandross, you know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
Martin
Reuben
Luther
Vince
King.
Carter, you know what I mean?
You said
Reuben Vince Carter,
Reuben
Reuben Vincent Van Gogh, you know what I mean?
Listen,
yeah.
I with it.
Yeah.
All right, I want to move on a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about education and how that factors in.
Okay.
Ninth, you were a history major, right?
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, what you do as a musician and educator is preserve history.
Yes.
So I want you to talk a little bit about your studies and the education in general that helped influence your trajectory. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did you ever think that like majoring in history would result in you like teaching the history of music in the way that you do?
No, I think, you know, him saying he's a Capricorn, so am I. I think with us, if we're passionate about something, we want to know the most about it, right? We believe in circle of competence. And within this circle, we're going to know everything about what we're passionate about in this circle. Everything outside the circle, we're not insecure enough to ask and say that we don't know, right? But we're so much in our own worlds that we're just fine with being here. Hip-hop was my world. Music is my world, right?
Yeah.
The education side comes from the fact that my mom, who's still alive and breathing, she was a kindergarten teacher for 46 years, right? And so I grew up, all my mom's friends as her coworkers was teachers. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And then I went to the same elementary school my mom taught at. You know what I mean? So now
you had to be on that.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I mean? I mean, luckily for me, you remember in elementary school, you used to like, during Christmas time, you do these fundraisers where you go around selling like, I don't know, decorations or something.
Yeah.
You go by people, your parents, you try to buy my son selling chocolate, you know, whatever.
Yep.
I won all them joints, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but that's just my village, so to speak, was teachers growing up around the city, bruh. So I was always, like you said, stand up straight and just, you know, just really get into education.
Yeah.
Even if it was happenstance.
Because the thing that, like I was telling you off camera, I've known you for a long time.
Right.
And in researching for this interview and prepping, like that's when I discovered your history in education, like high school, like going to college. Seeing you become a teacher and become a professor at college, like in my mind, it felt logical, but it didn't feel like I was like after seeing the progression, I was like, okay, this makes complete sense.
Makes complete sense.
The fact that he would end up here, like, you know, like talk. What's the guy's name that brought you into the education space?
Well, the first person that brought me into the education is this few people that brought me into the education space. Is a guy named Corleone Wright, who was a schoolmate of mine at North Carolina Central, who told the chancellor at the time what told me that I was going around. This is how it went down. In Raleigh-Durham, we have this thing called North Carolina Teaching Fellows. Every state has one, right? And so a lot of people that I went to high school with became teachers, okay? So now, this is 2004, and you know how you have, I'm a teacher, I want somebody cool to come talk to my students. Well, I just did a Jay-Z record, some Destiny Child records. So now...
What's cooler?
What's cooler? So my man from back home, Daryl Piggott, he was like, man, Pat, man, come talk to my students, man. I'm like, do what? Bring your turntables, man. Do something cool for me. You know, he's a young student, I'm a young teacher. So I went and did that. I did that a couple of times. My man Corleone found out about it, went and told the Chancellor of North Carolina Central. The Chancellor of North Carolina Central, Dr. James Ammons at the time, approached me for coming to teach. And you in this rap business. I go to talk to James Ammons, and he's like, you have a salary. And I'm like, what? And so then he says, you know, we're gonna get you some medical dental benefits and 401k. Benefits? Something don't, you know? It's like, this is 2006. I'm like, what? So I started teaching, but the crazy thing that helped me was, you gotta look at it. I've been talking to 18 to 22-year-olds for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. So now my 18-year-olds that I had in 2006 are now 38. And I'm seeing them in public with children. Yeah. And it's, you know, most people our age, they don't understand that an 18-year-old in 2006, an 18-year-old in 2014, an 18-year-old in 2020, and an 18-year-old in 2025 ain't the same 18-year-old. Yeah. We all like to group them all into like this one box of thinking the same way. Technology has changed, social networking has changed, social commentary has changed. So, you know, that has helped me way more understand this relationship. Right. Because I'm not just the lack of a better term, the old. Mm-hmm. I may be the OG, I may be the elder, but when you talk to me and you're younger, it's not like I'm some parent of, I don't know who, Gunner, who is that? I don't know who is Trippy, NLE Chopper, I don't know these people. I don't talk like that. You know, I have to be in it, but I also understand how they receive music, how they learn, how they look at artists, what's their qualifiers, all of this stuff, and that's where I am now, which went to a lot into making this album and just trying to mentor him over the last, and shouts to Young Guru, because this was a group, and Cash, this was a group
shouts to Guru
effort.
Yeah.
We're gonna touch on Guru in a minute. But Reuben, you left school, right?
Yeah.
To do music. Yeah. How did your mom feel about that?
Ooh. So
sorry to go straight to the gut punch.
Absolutely, it's good, all good. But so my mom was like, you know me, I knew this is what I wanted to do from, you know, I remember when I was 13, they pulled me into the side and it was like, yo, you can either make this a hobby, we'll let you just come up to the studio. If this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, you know, we'll help you. And he was like, but go home and think about it. I already knew then this is what I wanted to do. But my mom, absolutely. You know what I mean? But my mom was like, the one thing she wants from me is to go to school. She was like, you have to go to school.
She told him that too.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you know, I went to, all my life I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, right? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it was the like poverty, you know, stricken neighborhood, but it was predominantly black, which was a lot of culture for me. But which also alludes to my first ever project I put out when I was 16. When around the same time I met Ninth, my mom and her first husband had split. And the deal was, you pay the mortgage, she pay the bills, and you pay child support for my brother and sister, and just make sure. And he did some
say whatever you want. Ass. I want you to put a chyron on the Lord third. Ass fans.
And started taking care. He did and started taking care of somebody else's family, and stopped taking care of his own 2 kids, and stopped paying the mortgage. So months went past where they weren't getting the mortgage paid, and my mom didn't know. So he just said something about MERS, right? Yeah. I'm saying all of this to lead up to something. But I had did a verse for MERS on Brighter Days, they last tape, after MERS heard me.
Right.
And the day it came out, I was walking home from school, and there was a foreclosure notice on our door.
I just got chills.
Crazy.
This is like a movie.
And even better, the album came out, well, I was in school? I was walking home from somewhere, I don't think it was school, but it was also my birthday, December 31st.
Is this Myers Park?
Yeah. Okay. So then we moved, we moved to Myers Park. We moved to a different school, which ended up named Myers Park. And in the school, it was a culture shock because the high school I went to before was Rocky River. It was like blacks, Hispanics, you know, a couple whites, but it was more that. Myers Park was predominantly white. You know, it had a good percentage of blacks, but it was predominantly white. So when I started going up, a lot of the songs I was making was talking about, you know, systematic racism and, you know, just how the system is, police brutality, all of that stuff, because it was what I was seeing at school. And then, you know, Ninth was like, yo, you should name it Myers Park. And, you know, we was watching Stranger Things at the time, so we themed it around Stranger Things. But then I had tied it into like, you know, me and my friends being the kids in Stranger Things and the monsters being like anybody who was like trying to, you know, put racism on us and police, you know, all of that stuff. So when people go back and listen to that project, which I also didn't curse on, it's about that, you know what I mean? And me going to Myers Park and just all that culture shock. But again, my mom was like, you have to go to college. So I was like, okay, I went to this Myers Park school because we moved. My mom wanted me to go to a good school. I got to go to an HBCU. I gotta go to an HBCU.
You chose right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I did. So you know, I went to A&T for a year, majored.
I did the best I could.
And it's funny, I did register for Central, but I ended up choosing A&T.
Well, you know, he did, and he left A&T, so
yeah,
he rectified it for you.
Yeah. So, I went to A&T and I majored in business information technology. Freshman year, I had a 3.5 GPA. So I was on my scholar, but after that, COVID happened. You know, after my freshman year, COVID happened. And so I went back home and I was like, man, I'm in this house, we doing online school. And then I couldn't go to the studio because of COVID. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take $200 out of my refund check that I got and I'm gonna buy equipment.
I bought jeans and pizza with my refund.
I bought jeans and sneakers too.
Jeans and pizza.
I definitely bought clothes.
I bought CDs.
Another smart. Yeah. I don't know what them jeans are.
Yeah, man. So I bought equipment and I started to record at my house. Focusrite. I bought the Focusrite. It came with the pack with the little, you know, and the microphone.
Yeah.
So, I ended up doing that. And before I went off to college, Ninth had got me a MacBook. So I was like, okay, I'm going to use this MacBook to record. And I ended up recording a lot of stuff that people heard on Love Is War at the crib. And then,
oh, wow. Nice.
And then bringing it to Ninth and bringing it to everybody before I brought it to Guru. But that year, COVID happened. I recorded a lot. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this school thing anymore. You know?
Yeah.
With COVID and everything happening. And so when I went to LA, for a week. And I ended up staying out there for 2 months because Guru just was like, yo, stay out here. You know, ain't nothing else going on. And I stopped showing up to class online, but I did not tell my mom. So that semester, I still got my homework done, but I wasn't showing up to the Zooms. I just do my homework, turn it in, and go do rap stuff. And then after that semester, I didn't go to the next semester. I didn't register for classes, nothing. And I didn't tell my mom, but around that same time, Ninth had called me. I was working. I had went back to Charlotte. I started working at a fitted hat store. And another serendipity moment. I'm literally, the day before, I was like, man, school, COVID happened. I don't even really want to go to school. I'm at this fitted hat job, getting $10 an hour, working 20 hours a week. Like, I ain't really making no money. And I was like, man, I really just want to focus on rap. And I remember I was frustrated. I was literally clocking out, closing the door because the guy gave me the key. He was like, yo, close the door when you're done. I'm closing it. I click lock. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Ninth calls me. He's like, yo. I'm like, what's up? He's like, do not tell anybody, but Omar Grant, the president of Rock Nation at the time, just called me about you. We want to sign a deal. We're going to figure it out. Don't tell nobody. We're going to go over the paperwork. We'll figure it out. So for 6 months, we was going through the paperwork. I did not tell my mom, and I was not showing up for class. Not going to class, nothing like that.
How hard was that for you to hold from?
Man.
Because I'm assuming you and your mother have a close relationship.
Yes,
y'all are tight.
Definitely.
So if anything, I would imagine not telling her you're showing up to class, you probably felt bad about that.
Yeah,
but you also had like this gift to give her.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and you're like, I can't tell you.
Man, and it's crazy. So this is how she found out. I was going to surprise her with the contract and show her like, look what we did. She called me one day. I'm at the gym. I'm like, hello? Yeah, Reuben. I'm like, what's up, Mom? She's like, did you register for class next semester? I said, no. She said, why haven't you? You have 1 week. I said, I think I'm gonna focus on music. She said, what? I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna focus on music. She said, wow, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't go to school and focus on music? I said, nah, Mom, I think it's, I think if I just fully fledged on music, it's gonna work out. All day, you just thinking about music, you need backup plan, blah, 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 what's wrong with you? And she was snapping on me. So I said, I let her go off, and I said, well, of course, all I would be focusing on is music if I had a Rock Nation deal on the table. And she said, what? I said, I was trying to surprise you, but you over here spazzing on the phone about to go off on me and tell me you're going to kick me out the house and all this stuff if I don't do that. So then she was like, how long has this been going on? And so...
Even the good news.
Yeah. And, I told her, was going through the paperwork and stuff like that. And then she was just like, okay, well, I trust you. But she did say this to me. She was like, stay educated.
Yeah.
Stay informed. Don't, my mom gifted me the Malcolm X autobiography when I was 13 years old, right before I had met Knife. So this is like my brain was opening around this time. So she's always been an advocate for books. My mom got books all in the house and stuff. So I just became a book nerd because of my mom. You know what I'm saying? Even my penmanship. My mom used to be hard on me about like, don't have terrible handwriting. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
You do one thing how you do everything.
Exactly. So, she was just like, always, I trust you, I believe in you. Just stay informed and don't forget to continue to educate yourself.
So that leads me to my next question. It's a yes or no question. Are you going to go back to school?
I actually do want to, but I want to do it, obviously when I'm solidified and, the money is good enough so I can just pay it off and finish. And
so your mom's going to see this, so she's going to be like, you going back?
Yeah.
But I will say this, in your defense of that decision, you couldn't have picked a better. This is basically college.
For sure.
This is business.
For sure.
This is learning in a different way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But thank you for bringing up Jamla, because that brings me to my next question. Mm-hmm. All right. So, what is the Jamla version of a chaining day? Is it like a Zulu Nation leather medallion? You know what I'm saying? Is there a chaining day at Jamla?
Jesus Christ. Black Jedi Zulu and Jamla have cross-pollinated, but everybody that's in Jamla is not Zulu and vice versa.
Okay.
Nah, man, I don't know what it is. Everybody that we told that's signed to Jamla, we've told them a different way, and everybody's story is different. Mm-hmm. There's no stage, you come on chaining day or nothing like that. Even with him, he came by the studio at 13. We didn't sign him till he was 16.
Right.
His voice changed, of course. It went deep on, and I'm like, gosh, his voice deep now, man. What's going on? We're going to do it all these old Supernova songs. And it went from there. And then, but I also, I told him, I said, man, we talk about this all the time. When you said about him going to school and his mama told him to go to school, I also told him to go to school. Now, when he dropped out, I'm thinking his mom going to call me.
Yeah.
You told my son to drop. No, I didn't.
Because he's in your care.
Exactly. Yeah. But, I wanted him to have his middle school years as a middle school kid. I wanted him his high school years as a high school kid. Although when he put out Myers Park, stuff started to change a little bit because now he getting calls from Swiss Beats at 16. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a beat. We got a beat from Swiss. Now this is...
We had a whole group chat. They was trading off beats and
yes,
stuff.
Yes, sir.
Child Prodigy, because Swiss was a young one too.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
So...
And reached out to him on his own, you know what I mean? And we put out Myers Park. And I told him, I said, man, go to school for 1 year, bro. Just go for 1 year, at least to go, just to see what school is about. And because you've been in school before, man. Yeah. It ain't about the books. It's about the people that's there and the lifelong experiences that you have.
Yep.
I said, man, you got to, at least do that. And so that's what it was. But nah, there's no Jamla, like chaining day, man, anything like that. I always tell people, now a lot of people don't know, Reuben did not sign anything on paper with me until we got the Rock Nation deal. Mm. That's 8 years. Now, once my relationship with Rock Nation further became bigger and bigger and bigger. Now if I have somebody new, you have to sign something. But in the early days of Jamla, it was like, you come here on your own, you can leave on your own. I'm not the person that say, oh, I'm hold your masters over your head and you got to do this and not like, nah. If you want to leave, you can go do whatever you want to do. Because North Carolina is not a place where it's like, all we have is the music industry. Right. You know what I mean? We're raised a different way, all of this stuff. And it's like, sometimes life takes over. And sometimes you say, I don't want to do this no more. And that's fine. And I'm like, well, all right, cool. You know what I mean? For the ones who have left Jamla and said, I don't want to do this no more, man. But it's all good. I appreciate it. Yeah. And this is what it is. I never thought I'd be a label head, you know what I mean? I didn't even want to have a record label at first.
Yeah, it's wild to see you as a label
head. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not even going to front.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it because...
And doing it well, by the way.
I'm trying, bro. At least it's a situation where I didn't want it because you have to get up every day responsible, making somebody else's dream come true. Yeah. I don't think people really understand. I got mine, and I'm continuing to do things while I'm running the label, but at the same time, you wake up every day saying, hey, like, I have to make sure this person don't get off track because I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's possible. You as an artist might not. And I have to navigate with artists to stop listening to their friends, family. Everybody has not. The one thing artists do so much is listen to people who's never done it. Yeah. And it's like, it blows my mind that it happens. And I get it. People, your loved ones and your family want the best for you. At the same time, I'm trying to like, just keep tunnel vision. It can happen, it can happen, it can happen. And if you walk in the direction, I believe in law of attraction. I believe in the universe and serendipity. If you walk in the direction, it can happen. And he's been walking in the direction since he's been eight. Not even 13, eight. I don't know if I'd have been able to have this situation with this music because another big testament of it is of this album, and I'm learning this while we're doing interviews. Yeah, it's about the music. Yeah, it's feel good. Yeah, it's his story. It's my story. Mostly his story. But the big story is Generation X, his generation. It is told to us that we don't get along, and we don't see eye to eye, and we don't have the same taste in music, and we don't this and we don't that, and it's a generational war going on in hip hop. And our relationship in this album disproves all of that shit.
You know, I never made that connection until right now.
I made it doing these interviews.
This run, like, because again, I was telling him while we were talking, I was like, off camera, I'm like, you know, like, I didn't know he was so young until recently.
Right.
Like, the way that he rhymes, the polish, just the level of professionalism. Oh, he's like in his like late 20s. You know what I'm saying? Like a older guy. And I'm like, oh, this dude started when he was like young. That's where the polish comes from. But the closing the generational divide a little bit on this album is beautiful, man.
It's also gonna show all the cats my age that it's more of him that exists. Yeah. And if it's one of him that does it, it's more than him, but there's also kids his age, with young adults his age, that want to hear it too. Mm-hmm. We just have so much of a bad taste in our mouth, man, when it comes to, man, the young generation don't know nothing. All they want to hear is this and all they want to hear is that, blah, 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 blah. That's not true, man. It's not true. It's not. I see it all the time in my classes. I seen it with him.
And to add,
I was
about to say, to add to what he's even saying, you know, a lot of people, when they hear my music, they be like, man, I didn't know you was 24, which, you know, I obviously respect and I appreciate because it's, you know, it definitely is a compliment to me. You know, I think, you know, just the depth and, you know, the intention that I put in the music. Yeah. But I remember my first project, Love is War, Pitchfork did a review on it, and they was like, ain't no way a 22-year-old is talking about all this stuff. And I was like,
the different world thing pissed me off.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. And I was like, how old was Tupac? How old was Nas? How old was Outkast? How old was these legends that we look at as the OGs now when they're older, but like when they were in their prime and doing these records, they were my age and they were talking about things with depth. They were talking about things with intention. I think because of the current change and, you know, what people are allowed to deem to be popular, they've removed the thought that a 24-year-old could even think like this. But like he said, there's so many of us out in this world.
Right.
And I'm just being myself. Like, I'm not even trying to force, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I tell people all the time, I can't even force it. You know what I mean? It's just me being me.
You know, I will say that Pitchfork has a history. I'm saying that to camera. I'm taking that on my back. Pitchfork has a history. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Pitchfork.
For sure.
But I want to get back to some, you know, Jamla business. You both share a relationship with Young Guru, your own separate relationships. He's an integral part of the Jamla family, and you work pretty closely with him as well. Young Guru is one of those dudes that, for people that don't know who he is literally his name. He's a guru. He's a master. He's a connection maker.
Perfect name.
He's an electrician. He's everything, an engineer. But I want to know, like what's a jewel that he's gave both of you? Because I know that he brought you in to work with Jay-Z, and then you transferred that relationship to Reuben, where he's working with you. So what's like a gem or a jewel he's giving you both?
Guru was the first person to talk to me and have a full conversation with me about associates in the music business and friends in the music business. I called him one night. I was watching an award show. It was on this award show. I ain't gonna say which one, but it was some weird stuff going on. This is like 2007. I've only been in the game technically on a mainstream level 4 years. If I count from Jay-Z to that, it's 4 years. So I'm calling Guru. I said, man, are you watching this? He said, Knife, I'm about to take you out of my associate box. I'm gonna put you in my friend box. And he taught me the difference between having a friendship in this game with somebody and having just associate friends in music or associates in music thing in this thing. Young Guru and I, you know, both, and Reuben, both our mother and father raised us. Young Guru went to Howard. You know what I mean? We both went to an HBCU. There's a lot of similarities in those three. Guru is a nerd about so many different things. People don't understand how much of a nerd he is about stuff, man.
And I don't want y'all to take that the wrong way.
No, it's not nothing bad.
He's passionate about what he loves.
He's passionate about what he loves. And he just come from that particular cloth. And he says all the time, man, if you was at Howard with us, man, you would have been hanging with us. And he's right. Everything about DJing and producing and the stuff he was doing with music. I might even got started earlier than I did, because I didn't start the Jay-Z record I did when I was 28. We started Little Brother when I was 26. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I started when I was 27.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's with Guru, man, it's just, he just always told me, he was like, no, this game weird, bro. Which side are you on? And I'm like, I'm with you, dog. Where were you at? You know what I mean? Like, and as we have gone from him bringing me up to meet Jay for the first time, that was September of 2003. Me meeting he has 4 children. His youngest 2 children are twins. I remember going over his house, and he had them on the couch, both of them, trying to sitting them both up, because they was like 3-4 months old, on the couch. And now they're both like, they 22, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's one of my, not in life, in the game, he's one of my best friends in life now. You know what I mean? And so he joined with us. He's director of operations for Jamla. And he's joined with us, and Reuben was with me in North Carolina, with us in North Carolina. And then he went out to LA with Guru. And it's always me and him on the phone, whatever Reuben was going through, whatever. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If me and Reuben have a disagreement, all 3 of us get on the phone and talk about it.
Yeah.
It was always a thing. But that's one of the things I learned so much from that dude, man, and vice versa. But I learned a lot.
Yeah.
The saying goes, if you're the smartest person in your circle, find another circle.
Facts. Facts.
That's a heavy way to end it in that question. So what about you?
Man, just to even piggyback off of what he said, like even when we do like the 3-way phone calls, Guru always started off like, all right, we brothers, and we gonna argue, we kick it like brothers, and we gonna eat food like brothers, we gonna argue like brothers.
You sound just like him.
And yeah. and to be real, like I took that into like even my crew Third World, which is like all of my young guys, you know what I mean, where all of our crew is from, our parents are from West Africa, we took on that name. So like when we have a disagreement, it's still, we gonna go get food afterwards, but if we mad about something or we disagree about something, we all go sit down and be like, yo, I don't like that. All right, we gonna talk about it? All right, cool. You know what I mean? But I learned that from them too. But then also too, I remember one time, somebody, I ain't gonna say who it was, but somebody was going through something in the media and it was, just blurting out a lot of information that they just probably recently just found. And he was like, Reuben, I'm gonna tell you something about being in this industry. He was like, you gotta move with stealth and you gotta be still. And, I was like, sheesh. Like, and I've heard him say that to me too before, like just being still. Yeah. But the way he said it, he was just like, yo, there's a certain level of knowledge that you're gonna obtain just being around us and being, in the game and seeing certain things. But certain things is not for everybody and certain things, are to share. So you gotta be mindful about what you say and how you say things. And then another thing too, I've been taught, obviously by, 3 great brothers, you know what I'm saying, like Cash, and which is on the other side of the camera, Ninth, Guru. But I remember when I was living in LA, and I'm very grateful because you can go out to LA and get lost, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I seen a lot of weird stuff when I was out there, but because I was with Guru, I was very much protected. You know what I mean? I've been to parties and Guru make calls like, yo, y'all make sure y'all take care of my young boy. He ain't about to be doing no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
100%.
But it also like, he's passionate about stuff, so he put me on, like, we'll wake up before we start recording, he's telling me about Amiri Baraka. He's telling me about Stokely Carmichael. He's telling me about all of these, legends and, not just in the game of music, but just in Black history, and putting me on to so much that I've now intaked all of this information and it's stuff that I now go and find my own stuff and go do research on, and about Marcus Garvey and, about this person and all of this stuff is just, because he's so passionate about it. He'll sit, like, I'll wake up in the morning and he'll be already at YouTube with his cup of coffee watching a Amiri Baraka speech and breaking it down for me. Or even an Outkast, what's the song? It's not mainstream. The verse where Andre's like, me and everything around me, smooth as stable like Chernobyl. It's off ATL. But
Millennium.
Yeah. I knew it was one of the songs that started with M. You know what I mean? But I knew it wasn't mainstream. But Guru does this thing where he's listening to a record and he will stop it at every line and break it down for you. And that even helped me as a lyricist, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So those are some gems that I can say I got from Guru.
Well, we're not gonna stop the gems right there because I'm sure you guys will learn stuff from each other. What's something you've learned from or about each other?
I got one. This is the big quote. He probably says it himself.
Big quote. All right.
Yeah. Be careful.
Get that lower third ready. What is it?
Be careful with foot you step on because you never know what leg it's attached to.
I learned that quote from Harry Belafonte.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
He told me that too. He told somebody that we were all in a meeting. He told the person sitting beside me, who was a really famous actor. He told this person, and he pointed to this person, said, watch the toes you step on, son, because you never know the leg it's attached to. It froze me for months.
Yeah.
I didn't know what. I was like, wait a minute. Like, you know what I mean?
It made you like go back into your mind library, like, what's happening? Mm-hmm. But it's also a thing where, like, that's one of those lessons that it sounds like common sense, but when you're really like aspirational and trying to move around, sometimes you might not pay attention to where you step in.
Yeah, and also another thing I learned from Knife is his discipline, and just also his integrity when it comes to not being a part of the fluff and shit, you know what I mean, and just being able to be like, yo, I'm over here, you know what I mean. I'm a successful producer. I do this, you know what I mean. I'm a legend, but I ain't with all of that. You know what I mean? Mm-mm. And to be who he is, and even we in New York, and people come like, yo, it's Ninth, and still be respected, and people from anybody all the way from Anderson .Paak to Lil Yachty, who, respect Ninth, and he still, you know, stands on integrity and also being selfless, you know what I mean? And being able to look out for other people. That's some stuff I've learned from Knife.
What I learned from him?
Yeah, what have you learned from Reuben?
And I actually learned it through this album. Knifey can't quit. Before we recorded this album,
That sent chills.
before we recorded this album, you know, I had a long conversation with Cash and just my team saying, man, I got about 2-3 more years in this, dog. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Not necessarily making beats. Right. I always do that. And not necessarily DJing. But there's the race, running the race of getting a record heard and all of this stuff, the rigmarole you have to do to put out an album, right? I think one of the people that has totally figured that out completely is my brother, The Alchemist. He has figured it out.
Shouts to The Alchemist.
He has totally said, forget the industry, I'm going to do this myself, right? And so, but he has worked with this artist and this artist, this artist. What's different for me is I have a label of artists that I need to work with and put them first before anybody else. But after a while, I've been running Jamla for 15 years. I'm tired.
And along with other things. So
I'm doing Jamla, I'm doing music. My 3 things are Jamla, music or education, and basketball, grassroots basketball. Nike in particular. But my thing is, I'm like, man, bruh, and we had a long talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, after this here and a couple more, I'm done. You know what I mean? It's over. Like I'm gonna get a label to Cash. My daughter, who's 21 years old now, who's 90%. She was born 90% hearing loss. She wears cochlear implants. She makes beats. She made the beat that him, Murs, and Rhapsody rapped on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And she got a deal, her and this kid named Sai got a deal with Fat Beats. They putting out an album. And, you know, I'm like, I'm going to give it to her and let her and my son and my other daughter run it.
What's her artist name?
Jada.
Jada, okay. Mm-hmm. Look out for Jada.
And so I'm like, you know, I'm done. We start working on this album. And it's so good. I'm like, damn. And it's, you know, and I just signed a new artist by the name of Eli the Don. And I was telling him, man, every time I try to step away from this game, something happens. Yeah. I said this in 2016, what happened in 2017? Duckworth. I said this in 2019, what happened in 2019? Threat to Society with 2 Chainz. I said this every time I try to do this and say, man, you know, I think I've done enough. And I'm learning from him every day. Nah, bro, it ain't over, bro. Yeah, no. It ain't over. It's not over.
You know as a friend and as a fan, it's not over.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Like, there's so much more in the tank, and there's so much more you have to offer. You know what I'm saying?
I know, man.
Because Reuben has Third World.
I know, man.
So, tell me about Third World. What exactly is the crew, and how does this expand on the world that you're building for your audience?
So Third World is a creative company. I would say it's a creative company. We're just a creative. It's not no other rappers, but everybody else in the crew has a creative outlet that aids to all of us. So I have Johnny Kane, who is my DJ, but also he is a fashion designer, graphic designer. You know, me and him sit. He has many hats because me and him sit. We're the like idealizers of the crew. Like we'll sit, and the album cover for Welcome Home, me and him sat and came up with that together. We was like, yo, what if we get a flight jacket and we get it airbrushed on the back with you and Knife as the Wright brothers, you know what I mean? Like y'all the first flight, this y'all first flight in North Carolina. You know what I mean? That me and him sit and really come up with all the ideas together. Nuke is the OG of Third World. He's the member, he's the first member and the creator of the name. So Nuke is my older cousin. Nuke is 8, 9, 10 years older than me. I'll say 8. Yeah. 8 years older than me. And when I was little, when I first started rapping, he used to record with another artist who was from, if I'm mistaken, I think somewhere in South Africa. or synagogue or somewhere over there. And they were older than me, and they were ripping and running because he was like trying to manage him and stuff. And he was like, yo, all of us, we third world. All of our family come from a third world country. We gonna take the name, flip it on his head. We look at the world from a third perspective. So when I was little, I was like, whoa, that's a hard name. But it never went past that conversation. So when I got my deal and Ninth of them was like, you need to get an LLC, I was like, okay, my crew is gonna be called Third World. I was like, every of my favorite rappers had a crew. And I was like, yo, Nuke, remember that name? And I was like, you doing anything with that? He's like, nah. I was like, we gotta use that. So Nuke he does film photography. You know what I mean? And a lot of my film pictures Nuke takes, and he's also a creative director. We have Abdul Yates, who's another one, my cousin on my dad's side, but he's a stylist. He's also a teacher. He teaches at a school, and he's also works in the medical field. But he's into styling, and he also has been producing. You know, he knows that he got a long way to go with producing, but I'm gonna say it because I know if he's gonna do the legwork, it's gonna get there. And then we have Jelani Maxwell, who's actually was born and raised in North Carolina in the 2-5, but you know, he became a brother to us, you know what I mean? And we took him on, and he's, you know, a creative director. He actually just did an art gallery in Greensboro. He's a painter, photographer, graphic designer, all of that. And it's us, you know what I mean? And then we have, you know, we added Keelan to the team, who is also my videographer. You know, he shoots all my videos. And, you know, we just been ripping and running with that, you know what I mean? And
Johnny Kane.
Yeah, Johnny Kane, yeah.
That's dope, man. You're building a unit. You're building a squad, and you're helping people further their dreams in the same way.
It sounds like native tongues, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like Q-Tip, Ali Shaheed, Jerobi, and Fife.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of that, how that feels, and Pan-Africanism, and what does Pan-Africanism look like in the United States.
Yeah.
Next
That's our
question.
message for sure.
Question for you, Nine. When you're sampling, do you ask for permission or forgiveness?
Forgiveness.
I'm gonna leave it at that. But
nah, man. Forgiveness. I mean, it depends on what the record coming out at. I mean, if it's coming out as a major label release, I'm made great relationships that, you know, we have 2 Marvin Gaye samples on this album. 2 of them. And so I know the dude that is, you know, controls and deals with the Marvin Gaye estate. So I'm like, you know, my man, you know. Nah, but no, seriously, you know, just having those relationships means a lot. And to be able to now, I believe in sampling the now. We used to didn't believe in that before, but sampling the present or sampling something 10 years ago or whatever. So I've done that a few times. I did it with when I did Duckworth, I did it, and I sampled Hiatus Coyote. So I just called Hiatus Coyote and like, hey y'all, you know, check this out. And when we did Gotta Get It and I sampled I'll Be Sure, I reached out to I'll Be Sure. When I sampled Donnell Jones, Where I Wanna Be, I hit Donnell Jones in his DM. I hit
Tizo.
I hit hit Tizo Touchdown for Anything, and Cardo.
Yeah.
I love Tizo, man.
I hit Eddie F, formerly of Heavy D and the Boys. I hit Eddie F because of Where I Wanna Be, and Kyle West, the great Kyle West. Yeah. Right. So I'm in a stage now that I can reach out to certain people like, hey, Sweet and Good, we sampled Jill Scott. I had an hour-long conversation with Jill Scott on the phone. So that's what makes it fun now.
It's also doing that thing about keeping the music vibrant and alive, and not as back catalog. It becomes forward catalog again for like young cats, like his audience who might not know I'll Be Sure Night and Day. You know what I'm saying?
And the discovery of it all, it was discovery for us, the way we read credits, right? Yeah. I wish in 1993, when Wu-Tang put out 36 Chambers, there was the album, and then the RZA made an Apple Music playlist of all the samples he used. I wish that existed. Yeah. We had to look and find and get the records, but now for his album, I'm going to put all the samples I use in a playlist, and I'm going to send it out because I know my younger fans, my younger supporters, they really, really want to know where it comes from, and they're getting into music production themselves, and they want to understand. So hopefully they'll listen to Night and Day, but then discover, I'll Be Sure. You know what I mean?
Carly and partner with Apple on that. Huh? We should get Carly and partner with Apple.
Yeah, I think we should.
I'm going to just say that when I heard the I'll Be Sure flip, that made me go run back the I'll Be Sure album.
Beautiful.
And that mother album,
in effect mode. Well, in effect mode was track. It was boy top to bottom was slapping.
So you both are familiar with type beats.
Yes,
You know what type
absolutely.
beats are. All right, so I have some Ninth Wonder Reuben Vincent type beats.
Oh Lord,
Interesting.
I have sourced these.
it's crazy. Before I met Ninth and them, I used to rap on type beats when I was a day in my time. So it's funny now that I'm getting type beats and I'm curious to what they sound like.
Listen, man, like this ain't no roast session.
Nah,
I tried to pick.
It's love. It's
the
love.
cream
Yeah,
of the
it's love.
crop.
Shout out to all the young producers.
But you know,
people who's inspired by the sound. I appreciate y'all for even.
I just want to know if these young fellas nailed the sound. You know what I'm saying? So the first one is Daily Routine by AE Beats.
Okay.
I ain't mad at that.
Man, you know, some people, some producers don't like that.
Yeah.
Bro, be glad you're known enough that kids will appreciate to mimic.
Word.
And not necessarily mimic. We all sounded like somebody starting off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is paying homage. If you was trash, your beats was trash, you're not getting the type beat made for you.
Exactly.
For sure.
And so I appreciate whoever that kid is. I 1,000% appreciate that, man.
And that's even for him to like those even the sounds like. That's probably like if I heard that sample, I probably would ask Ninth to put something like
that
just the
definitely
chord, the color. Yeah, for
Ninth
sure.
Wonder type beat.
For
All
sure.
right, we got two more. The next one is Heartbeat by Flossin.
Okay.
It's got a slow fade in, you know what I mean?
It's definitely us. No, and it's crazy because it's our first full album together, and it's like on Lovers Who only had one beat on it.
Yeah.
General Mitchell had none. Now I have 16, and off Gotta Get It, Queen City, Dre and Sydney, and now Homecoming, and the mixtape put out before. Now that's becoming a brand.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
How crazy is that?
It is crazy.
Like it's crazy that you have zones for different artists. You've built brands for.
And that's what I was about to say. Ninth is not going to make the same beat that he would make for me for Eli the Don or a certain person. Like, granted, we'll collaborate together, you know what I mean? But he knows exactly what palettes to put certain artists on. So for them to even pick that up and pick the sample and be like, okay, this is Reuben, over a Ninth is dope.
How old are they? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll find out for you.
If they listen, man.
Shout out to y'all too.
Yeah, shout outs because if those, they can be 15, 14, they can be 28. Again, back to what I was saying. That generation's not lost, bro. We got to stop saying that.
Discovery is, One more. We got Rap Star by Soul Society Beats.
Oh yeah, this is a sample I would have chose for sure.
You can't really go wrong with that.
No,
you can't really go wrong with that.
I'm not mad at him for using that either. I'm not mad at that, man. That. Shout out to them young producers, man.
That's a sample I definitely would have rapped over.
That is fire.
All right.
Wow. I didn't know how that was gonna go.
Yeah,
because I never listened to my type beats before. Yeah.
So I was wondering if that was a thing, like if y'all avoid things with your name on it like that. You know what I'm saying? You probably don't check out Ninth Wonder type beats at all. No. Yeah.
No,
So I wanted to introduce you to some of your students.
It's so many Ninth Wonder type beats. It's some people that exist as like this in the game that's Ninth Wonder type beats.
You ain't lying.
All right, I got one more. We gotta get stripped. I got one.
Know what it is. Like.
Shout out to Cash in the building. I wish Cash was at the table with us.
We ain't telling you who it is either.
Nope.
Don't even ask.
All right. One more question. There's a new segment on the show called The Big Playback, where we seek justice for an underrated or overlooked song, album, or artist.
Yes.
Now, my brothers, I got one on deck in case you don't have yours ready. But if you got yours ready, you can let it rip.
Yes, I'll go first. I'm gonna give y'all.
And by the way, this is your camera. If you need to let motherfuckers know.
All right, The Big Playback for me is gonna be an album that was a couple years older than me, 4 or 5 years older than me. But it's something that I studied when I was 14 years old. It's by a group called I&I. And I didn't even know this at the time. And I'm just finding this out today. Pete Rock's brother was in it. But the album is not available on streaming. But I remember when I first started coming around ninth, and obviously I had already did my own studies, you know, Far Side and, you know, Tribe. I was a big fan of Tribe already, but I asked him, and he knew I already knew like the classics. I was like, yo, what's the album that, you know, I should study that I haven't heard yet? And he told me about the I album. And I was blown away that nobody ever heard this. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that, you know, people should check out when they have the time for sure.
Run that I, center of attention.
Yeah, center of
Shouts to my
attention,
brother
yeah.
Grap Lover. I was at the anniversary show for them brothers, man.
Yeah.
Faking Jacks.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Faking Jacks.
Shouts to these women who are doing their thing. SZA, Kehlani, Jhené Aiko. It's a few others, but those are the three I can think of right now off top that has that feel and that sound to them, right?
Yeah.
But I think a person that really pioneered that, whatever the aesthetic is for that, is a young woman by the name of Jack Davy.
Hey, man, come to Brooke, Bree.
Listen.
I'm excited.
Listen, man.
Yeah, for sure.
The homies.
I first heard Jack Davy mid to late 2000s in J Davy.
Yeah.
And, you know, she had one song in particular sticks out to me is my man Marco Polo did. It's called Relax.
Relax.
Yes, that she's on. And I just recently talked to her, just recently, through Nike EYBL. It wasn't even a music conversation, right? But
funny how that shit happens.
Right, exactly. We talking about youth basketball, but
because Tripper, her son,
yes,
nice.
Yes, absolutely. Shouts to Team Why Not, out of Los Angeles. But it's man, she crawled so they can run. And that's a 1,000%. So if you don't know who Jack Davy is, from the aesthetic, from the sound, the texture of her voice, she was doing it, man, way before we even can have a control or have worst comes worst for, you know, the worst for Jhené Aiko. And just anybody that's in that lane, salute to Jack Davy.
And by the way, nice with the bars. She will bar up a lot of these and then sing them out the door.
Yes. Shouts to Jack Davy.
Man, shouts to Jack Davy, shouts to I. I got to give my pick since we're here.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
North Carolina group, Yag Fu Front.
Man, what's up, dog?
Come the fuck on, man.
Man, what's up?
I step to the right, you step to the left. I'm too shy to tell you that you're deaf. Busted Loop. Yeah. Busted Loop. Yag Fu Front for me is one of those groups that like, they're unsung in the same way, like, they were like in the shadows of Far Side and like these like more like abstract hip hop groups. And like hearing cats like that come out of North Carolina kind of gave me confidence to be who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Man, listen, people don't understand this. The three you can say at the time that was like really had that sound that was through the roof was Tribe, Far Side, and Souls of Mischief.
Yep.
Who we don't talk about enough is Yag Fu, Boogie Monsters, Bush Babies. We don't talk about this kind of Dirt Nation. We don't talk about these, you know, because if Tribe is the litmus, just think how many groups that was on that kind of vibe that had joints of their own.
Yep.
And you know, that was an amazing time for groups like that type of sound. Trends of Culture was another
Trends
one.
of Culture.
It was so many. It was so many groups, man, that was using jazz and hip hop. Yo, man, it's so many groups.
L.I. Groove, Busta Move to the L.I. Groove.
Yes,
yeah, we had it again. Like it was so many.
Even West Coast, Funk Dubious.
Funk Dubious. What was the name of Ice Cube's group?
The Lynch Mob.
No, it was like they were like super chill, kind of like Souls of Mischief. I forget their name. They had on like flannels in the video.
Yeah.
And it was like at a beach, and I was like, why are they at the beach with flannels? It's warm at the beach. Like in my mind.
So many, like Lighter Shade of Brown.
Yeah.
There's so many groups, man, from that time that had that feel, man. It was Tribe the Roots, Far Side, and Souls of Mischief. If you create a genealogy for those 4 groups, you're gonna, and those 4 come from De La.
Yep.
And Jungle Brothers.
Native tongues.
Shout out to De La and Jungle Brothers.
Yeah, listen, man, we could do this for like
Hours.
another 4 hours, man. So I want to let y'all brothers get up and get your work done.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for stopping through, man.
Thank you, man.
Nice.
Thank you, old timer.
Sir, thank you, man. Aggie Pride all day.
Hey.
Like that.
Shout out to Ninth and Reuben for stopping by and hanging out with us. It's so dope to have 2 generations of hip hop at the table at the same time. Be sure to check out their album and then check their website to find out when the next show is. And that's it for this week. But as usual, make sure to stick around for a little something after the credits. The Almanac of Rap is created and hosted by Donwill. Executive producers are Donwill, Aisha Sese, and Travis Harris. The show is directed by Travis Harris. The show is produced and edited by Kobe Bafor. Art direction for the show was handled by Kaushik Kaladindi. The production coordinator is Bianca Ortiz. Audience development is handled by Hassan Spruill and Ashawn McCullen. Our audio marketing strategist is Fabian Mickens. The show's camera operators are Travis Harris, Kobe Bafor, Trigger Bowden, and Compton Timberwolf. Graphic design was done by Jefferson Harris. Compton's also our technical director and audio engineer. The show's associate producers are Brianna Harris, Tiara Jackson, and Javon Stevenson. The show's theme music was provided by Von P. The show is written by Donwill and Peter Berry. I spent way too much time compiling names of artists that fit into my little blank the descriptor category to not mention the rest of them. So I just want to give them a shout out for having their own little micro trend popping off. The rest of the list is Rich the Kid, Ski Mask the Slump God, Polo the Don, Smooth the Hustler, Trigger the Gambler, Royce the 5'9", Trugoy the Dove, Rip the Jacker, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Mariah the Scientist, BJ the Chicago Kid, Sage the Gemini. All right, see you guys next time on the Almanac of Rap.